The world screams at you. Every moment, every breath, every heartbeat is accompanied by the cacophony of chaos. Your phone buzzes with false urgency. Your mind races with tomorrow's fears and yesterday's regrets. The noise never stops. Claws at your consciousness like a beast desperate to feed. But there is another way. There is a path walked by giants, by emperors, by men who have stared into the abyss and emerged, not broken, but forged into something harder than diamond, colder. Than winter's first breath. In the eye of every storm, there exists a place of perfect stillness. The hurricane rages with the fury of 10,000 demons, yet at its center lies absolute calm. This is where the Stoic man lives. Not in the chaos, not in the noise, but in that sacred space where silence reigns supreme. He has learned what? The ancients knew what Marcus Aurelius understood as he ruled an empire while barbarians pressed against every border. What Epictetus grasped even as chains bound his feet. True power is not found in the storm. It is found in being the unmoved center around which all storms must break. The weak man speaks first. He fills every silence with words, every pause with noise, every moment of uncertainty with the desperate sound of his own voice trying to convince himself he exists. Watch him in the boardroom, in the argument, in the moment when pressure mounts like steam in a kettle. Cannot bear the weight of silence. It crushes him. So he speaks, he explains, he justifies, he pleads. Each word that spills from his lips is a confession of his weakness, surrender of his power to the chaos around him. But the strong man, the man who has walked through fire and emerged with eyes like winter morning, he knows better. He has learned that silence is not empty space waiting to be filled. Silence is a weapon. Silence is a fortress. Silence is the pause between lightning and thunder, pregnant with all the power of the storm, yet disciplined enough to wait for the adore. Perfect moment to strike. Consider the lion before the hunt. Does he roar to announce his presence? Does he thunder through the grass, alerting every creature for miles of his approach? No. The king of beasts moves like a shadow, breathes like the wind, exists like a ghost until the moment comes. And only then does he act. Swift, decisive, final. The prey never sees him coming because the lion understands what weaker predators do not. The hunt is won in silence, not in noise. This is the way of the Stoic warrior. He does not announce his intentions. He does not telegraph his moves. He does not waste energy on empty threats or hollow posturing. While others bark and snarl and make themselves known, he watches. He waits. He prepares. When the moment arrives, when the universe aligns and presents him with his opportunity, he moves with the quiet inevitability of winter's approach, unstoppable and absolute. The noisemakers will tell you that silence is weakness. They will interpret your stillness as uncertainty, your calm as confusion. Let them. Their misunderstanding is your advantage. While they exhaust themselves in the theater of emotion, you conserve your strength. While they reveal their strategies through desperate words, you gather intelligence. While they burn through their energy like a torch in a windstorm, you remain. Like the deep ocean, vast and patient, and ultimately overwhelming. Seneca knew this truth when he counseled Nero. Watching the young emperor's rage consume him like acid eating through metal, the philosopher had learned that the man who controls his tongue controls his destiny. Words once spoken cannot be recalled. They fly like arrows from a bow, and like arrows, they often find unintended targets. The wise man keeps his arrows in his quiver until he is certain of his aim. The fool shoots wildly and wonders why he never hits his mark. There is a coldness that comes with true strength, a detachment that the world mistakes for indifference. But it is not indifference. It is clarity. The man who has suffered and survived, who has been betrayed and abandoned, who has felt the full weight of life's cruelty pressing down upon him like stones upon a grave. He emerges from these trials with something the comfortable man will never possess: perspective. He sees the drama of daily life for what it truly is, a play where actors take their roles too seriously, forgetting they are merely playing parts in a larger story. This man, tempered by adversity and hardened by experience, no longer needs to prove himself through words. His presence speaks louder than any voice. His stillness commands more respect than any demand. His silence carries more weight than any speech. He has become like the mountain, impressive not because it moves, but because it stands unmoved while everything around it changes. The ancient Romans had a saying, "Still waters run deep." They understood that the river which makes the most noise is usually the shallowest, breaking itself against rocks and obstacles, dissipating its power in sound and fury. But the deep river, the one that moves continents and carves canyons, flows in near silence, its power contained and directed. It's unstoppable, precisely because it does not waste energy on display. When the Stoic man faces attack, when jealousy and malice and small-mindedness gather around him like wolves around a wounded deer, he does not react as they expect. He does not defend, he does not explain, he does not justify. He simply endures, like a lighthouse endures a storm. The waves crash against him with tremendous force, the winds howl their fury, the rain lashes him with vicious intent. When morning comes, what remains? The storm has passed, exhausted by its own violence. The lighthouse stands unchanged, still casting its light, still serving its purpose. It's unmarked by the chaos that sought to destroy it. This is the superpower of stillness. Not the absence of feeling, but the mastery of it. Not the inability to act, but the wisdom to choose when action serves and when restraint conquers. The Stoic man feels every insult, registers every attack, notices every slight. But he has learned to let these things pass through him like wind through a canyon, acknowledged but not absorbed, witnessed but not retained. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the known world, wrote his private thoughts by candlelight. After long days of governing an empire, his words reveal not a man drunk on power, but one humbled by it. He reminded himself daily that he was merely playing a role, that his position was temporary, that his true strength lay not in commanding legions, but in commanding himself. The emperor, who could order the death of thousands with a word, chose instead to master the only thing that truly belonged to him, its own response to events. The weak seek to control others because they cannot control themselves. Strong man knows that the only control that matters is self-control. He cannot stop the rain, but he can choose whether to dance in it or seek shelter. He cannot prevent others from speaking against him, but he can choose whether their words find fertile ground in his mind or fall on deaf ears. He cannot control what happens to him, but he can absolutely control what happens within him. This internal mastery manifests as external calm. The man who has conquered his own impulses, who has trained his reactions like a general trains his soldiers, who has disciplined his emotions like a smith disciplines metal, this man radiates a power that needs no announcement. Others feel it instinctively, the way prey animals sense the presence of a predator even when they cannot see it. There is something in his stillness that speaks of depths they cannot fathom, strength they cannot measure, of peace they cannot disturb. The world will test this stillness. It will send provocations like arrows shot by invisible archers. It will whisper temptations designed to break resolve. It will present opportunities for easy victories that come at the cost of long-term defeat. The untrained man falls for these traps every time, reacting to each provocation, pursuing each temptation, grasping for each easy prize. He becomes like a dog chasing its own tail, expending tremendous energy while going nowhere. But the Stoic man has learned to see these tests for what they are, opportunities to practice his craft. Each insult is a chance to demonstrate self-mastery. Each setback is an opportunity to show resilience. Each betrayal is a lesson in self-reliance. He does not avoid these challenges. He transforms them into training exercises for his character. The smith does not curse the fire that heats his metal. He uses it to shape steel into something stronger than it was before. In the silence between heartbeats, between breaths, between thoughts, lies infinite possibility. The man who can dwell in these spaces, who can exist in the gaps between noise, discovers a realm of power that the constantly chattering mind never touches. Here, in this place of perfect stillness, decisions are made not from emotion, but from wisdom, not from reaction, but from reflection. not from weakness, but from strength. The ocean teaches this lesson to those who have eyes to see. Above the surface, waves crash and wind howls and storms rage with seemingly infinite fury. But descend just a few fathoms, and a different world reveals itself. Here is the realm of deep currents, of patient power, of movements so vast and slow that they shape continents. The fish that live in these depths do not struggle against the surface storms. They exist in a place where such disturbances cannot reach, where the true forces that move the world operate in silence and in darkness and in perfect, it's unstoppable calm. This is where the Stoic man makes his home. It's not on the surface, where every wind disturbs and every wave crashes, but in the depths where real power flows. He has learned to sink below the level where noise has meaning, where the chaos of daily drama can reach him. From this place, he observes the world's madness with something approaching compassion, the way a doctor observes a patient's fever, understanding that the sickness must run its course, but confident in his ability to remain uninfected. The ancient philosophers spoke of the sage, the perfectly wise man who had achieved complete mastery over himself. They debated whether such a man had ever existed or could ever exist, but perhaps they were looking in the wrong direction. Perhaps the sage is not a destination, but a practice, not an achievement, but a daily choice to return to stillness when the world demands noise, to choose silence when others choose shouting, to respond with calm when chaos seems the only reasonable reaction. Every man carries within him the capacity for this transformation. Buried beneath layers of conditioning and expectation, beneath the accumulated noise of a lifetime spent reacting rather than responding, lies the unshakable core that no external force can touch. It is the part of him that existed before his first disappointment and will remain after his last triumph. It is the witness that observes his thoughts without being consumed by them, the stillness that exists between his emotions without being moved by them. To access this core requires a kind of dying while living. The man must allow his attachments to fall away, like leaves from a tree in autumn. His need for approval, his fear of criticism, his desire for comfort, his aversion to discomfort, all these must be recognized as chains that bind him to the wheel of reaction. Only when these chains are broken can he discover what the Stoics called true freedom, the ability to choose his response regardless of circumstances. This freedom manifests as a particular kind of presence, where the free man carries himself differently. He moves through the world like water through a riverbed, finding his way around obstacles without losing his essential nature, adapting to circumstances without being changed by them. Others sense this quality in him, even when they cannot name it. There is something unassailable about his calm, something unshakable about his peace. The weak man's energy flows outward constantly, dispersed in worry and want and desperate attempts to control what cannot be controlled. The strong man's energy flows inward first, gathering and condensing and purifying itself in the crucible of self-discipline. Only when this internal work is complete does his energy flow outward again, but now it moves with the focused power of a laser rather than the scattered heat of a torch. This is why the Stoic man's silence is so powerful. It is not the silence of emptiness, but the silence of fullness, not the quiet of weakness, but the stillness of absolute strength. Like a loaded spring or a drawn bow, his silence contains all the potential energy of action held in perfect balance, ready to be released with devastating precision when the moment demands it. The marketplace of ideas is full of noise, full of voices competing for attention like merchants hawking their wares. But the truly valuable ideas do not need to shout. They speak in whispers that carry further than screams, in suggestions that move mountains, while commands barely shift pebbles. The man who has something real to offer does not need to advertise its value. Quality announces itself through presence, not through promotion. Watch the master craftsman at work. He does not explain every move, does not justify every choice, does not seek approval for every decision, simply works, and the work speaks for itself. His hands move with the certainty of long practice. His eyes see what others miss. His tools become extensions of his will. There is no wasted motion, no unnecessary flourish, no energy spent on anything that does not serve the final purpose. This is mastery. the ability to achieve maximum effect with minimum effort, to create profound impact through seemingly simple means. The Stoic man applies this same principle to life itself. He has learned to identify the essential and eliminate the superfluous. He does not react to every stimulus, respond to every provocation, or engage with every fool who crosses his path. Like the master craftsman, he conserves his energy for what matters, spending his attention only on what serves his highest purpose. This selective engagement drives the noisemakers to distraction. They cannot understand how he remains unmoved by what moves them so deeply. They interpret his calm as coldness, his detachment as arrogance, his self-possession as superiority. But they are wrong on all counts. The Stoic man is not cold. He burns with the steady flame of purpose, rather than the flickering fire of emotion. He is not arrogant. He is humble before the forces he cannot control and confident in his ability to control himself. He does not consider himself superior. He simply refuses to descend to the level where superiority and inferiority have meaning. The storm rages, but he is not the storm. Fire burns, but he is not consumed. The flood rises, but he moves to higher ground. The earthquake shakes, but he has built his foundation on bedrock. This is not luck or chance or divine favor. This is the result of years spent in deliberate practice and conscious preparation, the daily discipline of choosing response over reaction. The ancient Stoics understood that philosophy was not an intellectual exercise, but a way of life. They did not study wisdom to win debates or impress others with their knowledge. They studied wisdom to become wise, to transform themselves from creatures of impulse into masters of choice. This transformation required more than reading or thinking or discussing. It required practice. It's a kind of daily practice that a musician applies to scales or a warrior applies to combat drills. Every interaction became an opportunity to practice Stoic principles. Every frustration was a chance to exercise patience. Every insult was an occasion to demonstrate self-control. Every setback was a moment to display resilience. Like an athlete training for competition, the Stoic man used ordinary life as his gymnasium, ordinary events as his equipment, ordinary people as his training partners. This practice eventually creates a kind of invulnerability, not because nothing can hurt the Stoic man, but because he has learned to transform hurt into strength, setbacks into lessons, enemies into teachers. The arrow still pierces, but it does not poison. The blow still lands, but it does not break. The betrayal still stings, but it does not destroy. He has become like tempered steel, made stronger by the very forces that would destroy weaker materials. Silence of such a man carries weight because it is earned silence, not empty silence. It is the silence of someone who has something to say, but chooses carefully when to say it. His words, when they come, cut through noise like a blade through silk. They settle into minds and hearts like seeds in fertile soil. They require no repetition because they are heard the first time, no emphasis because they carry their own authority, no defense because they defend themselves. This is the silence that precedes victory. Not the silence of the victim who has been silenced, but the silence of the victor who needs no words to claim his prize. The lion does not roar after the kill. The deed itself is announcement enough. The mountain does not proclaim its height. Its presence makes the point. The ocean does not boast of its depth. Its stillness speaks of fathoms that no sound can reach. In the final analysis, stillness is indeed a superpower because it represents the highest form of human development. The evolution from reactor to actor, from victim to victor, from slave to master. The man who achieves this transformation does not become something other than human. He becomes fully human, perhaps for the first time in his life. He discovers what the ancients meant when they spoke of the divine spark within mortal flesh, the eternal element that no external force can touch or corrupt or destroy. This spark does not burn brightly for attention. It glows steadily in the darkness, providing light without fanfare, warmth without waste, guidance without grand gestures. It is the flame that never flickers, the current that never falters, the foundation that never shifts. It is what remains when everything else falls away. what endures when all else passes, what conquers by never fighting and wins by never competing. The world will continue to rage around such a man. Storms will come and go, battles will be fought and lost and won, empires will rise and fall, generations will be born and die. Through it all, he remains, not unchanged, for change is the nature of existence, but unchanging in his commitment to the principles that have made him strong. He is the constant in a world of variables, the fixed point around which chaos must organize itself, the stillness that gives meaning to motion. When his time comes, as it comes to all men, he will face that final transition with the same calm that marked his life. Death holds no terror for him because he has been practicing for it every day, letting go of what cannot be kept, releasing what was never his to hold, accepting what was always inevitable. His legacy will not be in monuments of stone or bronze, but in the example he provided, the calm he demonstrated, the strength he embodied without ever having to speak its name. This is the superpower of stillness. It transforms not just the man who possesses it, but everyone who encounters it. It spreads like ripples from a stone dropped in still water, moving outward in ever-widening circles, touching shores the original stone never saw. The silent man's influence extends far beyond his words. His power reaches much further than his actions. His victory echoes long after his voice has been stilled. He never had to raise his voice to be heard. He never had to make threats to be feared. He never had to demand respect to receive it. He never had to announce his strength to prove it. In the end, his silence spoke louder than any shout. Stillness moved more than any action. His calm conquered more completely than any storm. The world needs such men now more than ever. In an age of constant noise, perpetual outrage, and desperate attention-seeking, the man who can remain still, who can stay silent until silence is broken by wisdom rather than broken by weakness, who can wait for the right moment rather than react to every moment, this man becomes a lighthouse in the darkness, a fixed point of reference in a world that has lost its way. He does not preach this path or promote this practice. He simply walks it, day after day, choice by choice, breath by breath. His life becomes the sermon, his presence the teaching, his example the invitation. Those who are ready to learn will recognize in his stillness something they have been seeking without knowing what they sought. They will see in his silence a strength they have been craving without understanding its source. They will find in his calm a peace they have been chasing without knowing how to catch it. And so the ancient wisdom passes from one generation to the next, not through books or speeches or grand declarations, but through the quiet demonstration of what it means to be truly strong, genuinely free, and completely at peace with whatever life may bring. The Stoic man's greatest victory is not over enemies or obstacles or circumstances, but over himself. And in winning that ultimate battle, he discovers that he has won them all.